Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum, located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.
The back and forth over SNAP benefits leaves families in limbo ahead of the holidays.
Coming up, I'll sit down with the new voice of Tiger Stadium, Dixon McMakin, to talk about taking over in the announcer's booth.
Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is pushing back on changes to Louisiana elections.
And the home of a former livestock auction in Abbeville gets new life as a Cajun music destination. Let's get started.
Let's do it. Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Jensen.
And I'm Victor Howell. Much more on those top stories in a moment on this week's edition of Louisiana, the state we're in. But first, we start with a message for our residents who might be traveling. If you are planning a flight anytime soon, you'll want to keep a close eye on the schedule. The FAA has scaled back flights at 40 major airports because of the federal government shutdown. Hundreds of flights have already been canceled, and it looks like the issue will worsen over the weekend. So far, no flights at Louisiana airports have been canceled, but they are warning that connecting flights, especially in the major connecting hubs like Atlanta, Dallas, and Houston, could be affected.
More changes are coming to the SNAP Food Assistance Program. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to fully fund the benefits. However, the Justice Department has appealed that ruling. The ongoing confusion is causing extra stress for families who are now turning to food banks for support as the holidays approach.
Across Louisiana, the line for food stretches longer every week. Thousands of cars, thousands of families, all waiting for the same thing, a simple box of food. This is Baton Rouge, but similar scenes are unfolding across the state. Thousands of families and seniors are now turning to food banks and community groups for help. Feeding Louisiana, the statewide network of food banks, says in the state more than 800,000 people live with food insecurity, and hundreds of thousands rely on the state's food bank network for help. That number is now growing while resources shrink.
I mean, we as a country are suffering for food due to the economy.
Joyce Hawkins is one of many waiting outside the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging, a lifeline for seniors across the parish.
All seniors live on a fixed income. Most of our seniors receive anywhere from $15 to $50 a month in SNAP benefit, which is detrimental to them. So it's critically important that whatever that the government is doing, that we make sure that we keep our eyes on the prize, which is our golden seniors, and we make sure that they receive the services that they need and that they can depend on us in time of need.
What was once a program serving a few hundred meals a day now reaches thousands, and the need continues to rise.
They end up having to choose food or medicine. So we wanted to make sure that they didn't have to make that choice this month.
Inside this warehouse, the challenge is clear. Demand is climbing, while federal support that once helped bridge the gap has dropped roughly 40% statewide.
When did the food bank start seeing a rise in demand?
I think we started to see it as we came to the beginning of the fall, actually, about a 20 to 25% increase. And we often see a slight increase around this time of year as we come into the holidays, but there has been a more drastic increase. And then I think with the government shutdown, unfortunately, and also the cuts to SNAP and SNAP education, families are feeling it a lot more now. It certainly worries me. You know, it's never good to see these kinds of stressors in our community.
The new president and CEO of the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Elizabeth Pfeiffer, says Governor Landry has stepped in with a short-term solution, but she says that relief still leaves many Louisianans behind.
We are incredibly thankful for the governor and the legislature for stepping in to cover the most vulnerable populations, which include the elderly, disabled, and households with children. I mean, this is fantastic. We want to ensure that these populations that need food on a daily basis have it. However, there still remains a gap of recipients that receive SNAP that are not covered in this latest resolution. So we're still advocating for them. We feel like those are the ones that will probably be coming to the food bank and to pantries as well.
On the front lines are volunteers, working faster than ever to meet growing demand.
I think just given what's going on right now in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, in the country, yes, I've seen it. I've seen that. I think there's more of a demand. Hopefully the donations keep coming and people realize what's going on right now and everything. I hope in general things get better.
The need isn't limited to one city. It's stretching from one corner of the state to the other. Rural parishes where access to grocery stores and social services is limited are being hit the hardest.
Our phones are ringing, that's for sure. Our partners are calling us with more questions, and even because the governor and the federal government have said, go to your food banks. That's where you should be getting extra food. People are calling to say, what can I have? What can I get? And so we're doing the best we can to respond to those calls to make sure people understand what is available here or at their local pantry.
Back in Baton Rouge, the line for food continues. For the woman in her car, help today means food on the table tomorrow. But for the volunteers, it means hope during uncertainty. And for Louisiana's food banks, it's a race to keep families fed, one box at a time.
We want to make sure that every child, every elderly person, everybody has a nutritious meal, multiple times a day. However, the thing that gives me hope is that I know our community will come together. They'll be able to support each other.
All right, Victor, let's take a look at what's trending this week. Big news, LSU names a new president to replace William Tate, who left the university back in May. McNeese State President Wade Roos will take over as president. However, some people aren't so happy about that. They've raised concerns about his credentials.
There's another big change along with this hire, because now LSU is reinstating the split leadership structure, naming James Dalton from Alabama as vice president of the LSU system and chancellor of the Baton Rouge campus. He will now be in charge of research and academics.
Big news. And also going over to Southern Law, some good news for that university. Leaders breaking ground on a new $2 million law clinic that will give students that real-world experience that they so need, and that the clinic is also going to have interview rooms, practice labs, and even a mock courtroom.
Yeah,
Victor.
Southern has such a great reputation for the
really
law
does.
program there. The building is expected to open next summer. The expansion shows the law center's commitment to grow its clinical program. That should be excellent use for those students on the campus.
I'm excited. All right, well, Louisiana locked in its reputation as a destination for foodies this week. Of course we did, right? The Michelin Guide awarded its first ever honorees in the American South, including our great state, Louisiana. 3 New Orleans restaurants were awarded with Michelin stars. Emeril's winning 2 stars for its take on Creole cuisine. Saint Germain and Zazu each earned 1 star.
We don't need Michelin to tell us we got good
I
food in
know.
South
We already
Louisiana.
know that.
Several other restaurants were awarded the recommended designation, including Elsie's Plate and Pie in Baton Rouge and also the St. Francisville Inn. Anonymous inspectors go to each restaurant. They rate them on 5 criteria, like quality of ingredients, mastery of flavor, cooking techniques, and consistency. Congratulations to all of those who received that honor.
Big congratulations. Well, a nationwide penny shortage now impacting prices at some major businesses, Victor. The U.S. Mint stopped making pennies earlier this year, as you may remember, but really didn't give much guidance as to how retailers should handle the change. You get what I did there?
I see what you did there. Yeah, some like Rouse's Markets and McDonald's will begin rounding cash purchases to the nearest nickel now. Customers, now they're encouraged to pay with cards or pay apps on their phones instead of cash. And I gotta say, I think the Howell household is a problem. We've got a box of pennies in the closet. It's time to get the kids, get the pennies back out and get them in circulation.
You gotta go. I love it.
Yeah, we will do what we can to help out with that situation. Let's talk about some sports now, but vocals in the sports. State Representative Dixon McMakin has a passion for Louisiana and his role in government, but also has a passion for his college, LSU. He's keeping tradition alive in his new role as the new PA voice of Tiger Stadium and the Maravich Assembly Center. He has deep ties to the university and knows he has big shoes to fill, taking over for longtime stadium announcer Dan Bornay. We recently visited inside his new office at Tiger Stadium to talk about his new vocal journey.
It's Saturday night, and here come your Fighting Tigers of LSU!
Dixon McMakin has grown up an LSU Tiger. His parents met at LSU. His dad, Wally, an SEC champion Tiger baseball player. For Dixon, his path to becoming the new stadium voice of LSU football and basketball is driven by family and his passion for the Tigers.
Yeah, what an honor. Baton Rouge guy, grew up here. You know, my mom and dad came to LSU. I'm a 3-time graduate, was here for 8 years, and Big Deacon Dan, as we call him all those years. Dan Bornay, big fan of his and all the work he's done throughout the years. Just to be up for it, be a finalist was what an honor. And now to be the chosen one to be the voice of a new generation, pretty awesome.
McMakin started narrating back in elementary school for class plays and activities, never knowing it would lead to this opportunity. His relationship with longtime PA announcer Dan Bornay led him to pay attention to what was being said in arena during basketball games at the PMAC. And it wasn't hard for McMakin to picture himself as one day being the man on the mic.
You know, you never think about that. You know, I come to the games, knowing Deacon Dan, I'd go to all the basketball games. My mom's a huge basketball fan, so growing up, the PMAC, right, we went to all the basketball games. And then, of course, Dad at baseball, Bill Franke has been on that broadcast as well for a long time. But you never think you're going to do it, but I was prepared for it if it ever came up. In high school, I started doing announcing, and then in college, kept that going. And then around town, just like you, we've done a lot of events together. And when you're on the mic, you become comfortable. You're able to pronunciate, do the words and all that. I would tune in to Dan and what he was saying, and I picked up on some of those little things that he did, and now I'm trying to do that the best I can. So it's a natural fit. Mama's from Memphis, Dad's from Monroe. I have more of a Delta booming voice. Deacon Dan was that Bayou voice that he had, so I'm a little louder. We're getting used to it, and every game we're trying to get better for the Tiger fans. Barry on the carry. First down for the Tigers.
For 38 years, Bornay was the voice inside of Tiger Stadium and 36 years in the PMAC. McMakin says he listened and learned, and after he got the job, went to lunch with Bornay, where he had to ask one very important question.
And it is rain. In that luncheon, I specifically asked him, chance of rain never. What do you want me to do with it? And I love that he told me, it's not a me thing, it's not a you thing, that's an LSU football tradition thing. Keep it going. Humidity, 56%. Chance of rain, never. You know, chance of rain, never. Dan said it took him about 10 years before he even said it. He wasn't planning on that being a thing, but when he said it, it caught on. So, you know, I've done 4 games. Do I have a catchphrase? No, I don't have a catchphrase yet, but will I ever? I don't know. But if something happens, the fans will let me know. I promise you, my tailgate guys are all out there, my cousins, my friends, so they'll let me know if something hits, and then we'll keep it going.
This is a long-term venture for McMakin, who said before trying for and accepting the job, he made sure his wife, Bess Casterly, who is also a news reporter and anchor in Baton Rouge, was good with him spending Saturday nights on a mic in a booth instead of with her in the stands. She gave her blessing, and now a lifelong Tiger is beginning this new journey at a place he's always called home.
Yeah, I get to, you know, sit back and relax and sit here in my office on Saturdays now and look at the 102,000 friends I have. Pretty awesome. You can't describe it until you're in the arena. That is the concrete coliseum of Tiger Stadium. It's just fantastic, but it's awesome. What an experience, and I truly just don't want to let people down. Such a passion that I have. A gift to be loud is a gift. To be able to do it properly, to watch the game and get that information to the fans. So yeah, I will do it as long as LSU will have me here, and I'm excited for that opportunity. Good night, Tiger fans. Drive home safely, and as always, go Tigers!
Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is raising concerns about changes to Louisiana's primary elections and the impact of federal policies on the state's tourism industry. I sat down with the Lieutenant Governor for a look at how he's taking on members of his own party. Well, joining us now is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you.
Let's talk about changes coming to Louisiana's primary system.
It's something that is going to hit people next year. The recent poll out shows that 30-something% of people don't even realize it's been changed. And it's going to cost a lot of money. And there's going to be some confusion of who can vote, who can't vote. And so I've been on a mission to change it back to open primary, not only here in Louisiana, but across the country. If you look at Congress, it's so dysfunctional.
Can you explain to the viewers the difference between an open and closed primary?
We've had open primary for many years in Louisiana. It's where you go into the poll and you vote for who you think's the best candidate, regardless of their party, Democrat, Independent, Republican. Closed primary, if you're a Democrat, you vote for the Democrat. If you're a Republican, you can only vote for the Republican. The no party could pick either or. And then once the Republican candidate is selected, either in the first or second primary, same thing with the Democrat, they would meet in the general election. So you could have 2 extra elections costing the state of Louisiana millions of dollars. And that money could be better used for education, healthcare, fixing our roads.
Can you talk more about the confusion to voters?
People ask me, am I going to be able to vote next year? Because, and I ask you, well, I was independent, but now they moved me into no party. What does that mean? Do I get to vote? And some people don't think they get to vote. So I think whoever's running in that closed primary needs to make it perfectly clear that the independent voters can vote in either or. And so there's going to be some confusion.
What is the path forward?
After this next election, a lot of people say, and it's no secret, that this closed primary was done because of Bill Cassidy's votes against the president in impeachment, and it was done to take him out. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. If that's the only reason it was done, then maybe the legislature and the governor will support going back to open primary after this next election, which I hope we will do, because it's for the greater good of our state and for this country. You've got some Democrats and Republicans that could come together and solve a lot of the problems, both on a local level and on a federal level, if we had open primary.
Why have you decided to speak out against this?
Well, because I saw the open primary makes us have to get along and talk. You can't just have the cheap rhetoric on one side or the other. You got to actually come up with some solutions to solving problems. Where if it's a closed primary, you can tout the far left, the far right rhetoric. You get into the general election, you're going to win because it's a Republican or a Democrat district or state. And you don't really have to have solutions to solving problems.
Could speaking out hurt you politically, or are you just not worried about that?
But I've always been one to speak my mind. And look, when I ran for office, I didn't need a job. I love what I do. And I'm probably getting involved in a lot of things that isn't in my job description like this. But I feel like if you feel you're doing the right thing, you can do no wrong. And people can respectfully disagree with me, but I think it's important to speak out and tell them why I believe this is important. Everyone is welcome. We can have different opinions on different issues, but we can work together for the greater good. And I think we need to get back to that.
You're passionate. I like that. Well, let's talk tourism. At one point, you asked the president to apologize to Canadians. Is our tourism still impacted by those statements and what has happened with our relationship with Canada?
Canadians book trips a year and a half, 2 years out. So a lot of those people have booked trips. They're still coming. Several have canceled. But until the president's either out of office or apologizes, they're not sending people back to anywhere in the United States. And even the airline up there told us they had to pull their advertisement. They're still flying to the cities, but they can't advertise because of the backlash from the citizens. So I think obviously it'll get better with time, but I think it's going to have a lasting impact for a while. We had 30 for the events in Lafayette last week.
I was going to ask about that.
We had 30 elected officials up there that when I went to the Congrès last year said they were coming down and canceled. Several apologized, but they just couldn't do it, not if they wanted a political career. And then several of the bus tours canceled. We've had musicians cancel. So it's affecting us, and Canadians is our biggest international market. So I think it's I think it's going to be a while before those numbers come back.
And what's interesting in conjunction with this, Louisiana was recently ranked as a top tourism state. And I saw that you spoke with the USA Today about this. Can you talk a little bit more about what you received?
Look, we've got so many passionate, great partners around this state. And everywhere I go, people love Louisiana. And it's not just our efforts in tourism, our food, our music, our culture, but it's the people. We treat strangers like family. And you leave Louisiana with a friend for life, and you keep coming back for more. So the great tourism numbers, the great things we're able to promote, goes to the people of Louisiana because of the way we treat people. To be named the State of the Year, and then have New Orleans as the best food city, and then, of course, our new initiative with the train to Mississippi and Alabama to be a new attraction, that's going to be huge for our future in tourism. And it's a great industry that keeps growing.
Thank you so much for meeting with us today. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot on your plate, but I really appreciate it.
Glad to be with you.
All right, so you ready to hit the road?
I'm ready.
Let's do some traveling. Along Bayou Vermilion in Abbeville, an old wooden barn once echoed with cattle calls and auctioneers. Today, those same rafters carry the sounds of Cajun fiddle and song.
The Richard Sale Barn is a relic of the region's cowboy past that now promotes and preserves rural and French culture and music.
Yeah, LPB's Karen LeBlanc is on the road filming LPB's new travel show, LA64, which premieres next year. In this sneak peek, she introduces us to Johnny and Kathy Richard, who have transformed a working stockyard into a stage for Cajun legends and Grammy-nominated musicians.
Johnny Richard is a third-generation cattleman, the last of the Marsh cowboys in Vermilion Parish. From the age of 7, he attended livestock auctions in this family-owned barn.
Every Tuesday we had a sale throughout my lifetime. The people my age are the last Marsh cowboys. Back when I was younger, they had 2,000 head of cattle. Now they have 50 or 60 head. You know, it's changed quite a bit.
Today, Cajun tunes replace cow bellows in an arena of pitch-perfect acoustics, originally designed to project the voice of livestock auctioneers. Johnny and his wife Kathy transformed the barn into a live music venue and established a nonprofit organization, Le Bayou Legendaire.
Now I wanna hear that Jimmy Reed type thing.
So it promotes the French rural culture of Vermilion Parish, the cowboy culture, and just all around the preservation. When we put this building on the historical registry in 1996, it was because we could see the vanishing of these kinds of buildings. You know, many stockyards now are made out of metal, and they are a whole different realm.
The Richard Sale Barn sits along the Vermilion Bayou and stands as one of the few remaining wooden stockades, earning its status as a National Historic Building.
We were talking off camera, and you said the fact that when you first applied to the National Historic Register, they were like, it's a barn.
Yeah.
But you made a very valid point. It's like, it's not just a barn. It was like a social hub. It played a really important role in life.
It did. There were 2 reasons people got together during the week. They would go to church to socialize, and you remember that roads were not very good, you know. So they would go to church, and then they would come to the sale on Tuesday. It was a market, you know, and on the Vermilion Bayou, because that was the best mode of transportation, you know, at the time.
All of his French-speaking friends would sit on one side of the stockyard, and Americans would sit on the other side. You know. So
the French-speaking people got the better seats.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they had insider access.
Exactly, yeah. So if you didn't speak French, you were les Américains, and you had to sit on the other side.
Did they get the better deals too?
No. Everybody got a square deal.
Today, every seat in the barn is a prime spot to listen to live music, with a symbiotic connection on stage that commands undivided attention. It's what draws Cajun music legends, including Zachary Richard, and Grammy-nominated musicians, many influenced by the music of Bobby Charles, Abbeville's native son, known as the Poet Laureate of Swamp Pop.
It's hard not to feel his spirit here. He was one of the early architects of rock and roll. He's one of the greatest songwriters, and people who are into songwriting know that he's really part of the holy grail of wonderful songwriters in American music history. And he really changed the world with songs like See You Later Alligator and Walking New Orleans, and later with his work with the band. And we definitely feel his presence here. South Louisiana just bubbles with so much art, culture, and music heritage, and it's a place where down the road, up the bayou, Vermilion, from your home, you can actually not only channel your heroes, but you can perform with your heroes.
Richard Sail Barn holds concerts in the spring and fall, promoting and preserving the region's Cajun musical heritage. Performer Sign the Wall is a rite of passage, a sort of public autograph book. Relics of a bygone era fill the front room, reminders of when Vermilion Parish was the largest livestock producer and when marsh cowboys roamed, herding cattle in the Chenier Ridges, bayous, and isolated grasslands. Concert posters hang alongside Johnny's handmade saddles, a craft he has since retired to focus on the Bayou Legendaire with his wife, Kathy.
Well, what do you think your granddad and your dad would think about what you've done with the place?
I think they'd both freak out, but they'd be really happy that it's being used and being, especially the culture. I think they'd both be happy that we're trying to preserve what they started.
Shop, stay again, and explore with LA64.
One thing we love about the state, there are gems like that throughout Louisiana, and we look forward to visiting them with Karen when she takes you along LA64 starting next year right here on LPB.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to watch that series. Well, that is our show for this week. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime wherever you are with our LPB app.
You can catch LPB news and public affairs shows as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please, when you have a moment, like us on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram.
For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Christina Jensen.
And I'm Victor Howell. Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum, located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And by Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Visit Baton Rouge. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.